Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will see or we will learn about project or user preferences, how to set up them in Primavera. First thing, navigation to user preferences, how to go to that option of user preferences. If you see on the left side of the tool in the menu bar, you will be having edit option. Click on the edit option, and then in the bottom of the drop down, you will be having user preferences. Click on that thing. Then you will be popped up with a dialog box which shows all the user preferences at work, which should be selected based on your interest or based on your will to see how the date formats and all should be there. What are user preferences in the first thing? User preferences are user specific settings based on the location, currency, the visualization formats the user wants it, and the time formats, etc. So all these things, how you prefer the Primavera tool to be visible to you so that you can work more efficiently on it or more comfortably on it. To set up those settings, these user preferences are used. Why do we need user preferences? As I said, first thing is user friendly. The whoever user in this case is specifically the planner or scheduling engineer. So he should be user free, he should be friendly with the interface, whatever is appearing on the screen, so that he will be more comfortable to work with on the tool to make the project or the Primavera more user friendly based on the working nature of the individual. And second thing is a project comes up with variables like time, budget is money basically, all these things. So to fit these variables in the required format, so date in certain format is only comfortable for me, and currency in certain type of currency is only feasible for that project as per project requirements, and the location or that specific geographical area of that particular project which we are dealing. And the third thing or the last thing is to make sure that the calculation parts are right. So to measure the progress, to measure the resource assignments, to measure the cost of the activities that are being done, Primavera comes up with multiple options to calculate them. So we should make sure that which calculation part is suitable for our project environment and for our organization wherever we are working for. So this should be taken care, or this should be selected in the user preferences one, so that there is no mismatch between the reality and what the Primavera is calculating. Okay. So once you have clicked on the user preferences button as shown in the previous slide, you will be popped up with such screen which is visible now to select all the user preferences one. Before I go ahead of explaining each one, just take a glance of what all these preferences or options we have to select them. First one is time units. What are the units that are assigned to that particular activity? Then dates, its format and how it will be done. Then currency, which currency you need it in INR, dollars, US dollars, Australian dollars, all the other different types of currencies. And then assistance is something the regarding the opening pop-ups of the project or pop-ups of the activity, then application, then password if you want to change the password, and the resource analysis, how you want to analyze the resource assignments. Then coming to calculations, when you are assigning the resources, when you are calculating some actual values and other things, how you want to be, or how you want the project, that particular project to be calculated, that can be done. And the startup filters is as soon as you open the tool, what are the filters that should be predefined or pre-applied before you open the tool or that particular window. So we'll go one by one, as it is kind of very basic things. What all these meant or what do these being defined? I'll just in this in this lecture cover that how to select the preferences and what are the recommended preferences so that the interface is very friendly and the calculations whatever we are doing are close to the reality on whatever is happening in the project. First thing, the dates. In the time units, you can select the unit of time as hour. So this is most recommended because for an activity, you are assigning some units. If it is in terms of hours, you can just calculate it very easily, saying this activity needs 50 hours, this activity need 100 hours. But if it is something beyond that, like if you are selecting some day or month, then you have to again define how many hours in a day, how many days in a month. So which is bit complicated when calculating it, or when we are inputting some data into the tool. So we recommend, or it is recommended, that we keep it as hour for the unit of time, and the same thing for the duration. So duration, it is always recommended to keep it in terms of days. We need 5 days to do this activity, 10 days to do this activity. So in that format, it will be much easier when compared to other formats. Moving forward, the next one would be on dates. So dates is, this is very personal choice, how you want it to be. First you want it to display month, day, year, or then day, month, year. It is completely personal choice. So we leave it based on your interest or your wish, how you want it to be displayed. And then currency, as I mentioned, it depends on the geographical area where the project is, and the funding that is coming into that project from different entities or different countries, whatever it is. So in that case, you select the appropriate one, so that the conversion rate while you are doing in the P6, sorry, outside Primavera or within P6, it will be a unique one. So moving further, once you select this one, the currency thing, we'll just move to the next one, which is assistance. Assistance is, as in simple words, like when you are adding a new activity or when you are assigning a new resource, should P6 throw some pop-up? Should P6 throw some pop-up to give some preferences or to give some details? Or it should just simply give the activities or add the activities. So this is something which is assistance kind of thing, which Primavera throws pop-up what details you want to enter for that particular activity. So as mentioned here, we recommend to always tick both the details, so that whenever you add a new activity, then Primavera throws a pop-up saying that what all details you have to enter. So while I am demonstrating that in the tool, Primavera Live tool, then I'll show it what difference it makes by ticking it or unticking it. The next thing is application. So this is purely user-friendly one, and how to show how the window of Primavera should be visible to you is something which is selected here. As soon as you open the application, what should be open activities, or you want projects to be defined, projects to be appear, or the resources to be appeared, you can just select based on your interest. And then group and sorting. In this, you need to show name or description or ID and code. These are all completely personal choices. How values, or what values should be visible as soon as you open, or as soon as you move into certain setting in the Primavera. Then coming to the next one, it will be the resource analysis. If you have observed, I have skipped the password part of thing. Password part is completely administrative part. So in some organizations, you will be having the access to change the password. In some organizations, you will not be having access to change the password of your login. So that is completely administrative part. If you can change the password, you can change the password of the login password for this particular Primavera. Or if you can't change, then it is completely the organizational thing. And coming to resource analysis, so this is bit very important thing. How the resource usage profile should be appeared whenever you open the resource assignment page. Whether the resource assignment should be visible for all the projects, or the resource assignment should be visible for only the projects which are having priority, or the resource assignment should be visible for only the opened projects. So in this thing, which we recommend is you only keep the opened projects only, so that you know what resource assignments have been visible there, and then what you are calculating. If we use the other two options, there are high chances of confusing which project are we talking to, and the data will be bit more data to analyze, or to make full proof if we did something wrong or some errors that we need to check. And next thing is the time distributed data. So here, time distributed data in the sense you have assigned, let's say 100 hours per activity. So that 100 hours, how it should be distributed, whether each day, each week, each month. Again, as I said earlier, hours and the duration in days is more feasible for a scheduler to calculate or to analyze something if something is really going wrong or some distribution is wrong. So as highlighted here, we recommend that you keep remaining early dates, which is basically the number of days that is remaining for that particular activity, and the interval for distribution of those units is days. So we have each day and then it is distributed 100 hours per 10 days, let's say 10 days in, sorry, 10 hours in each day. So this will be very simple and very easy for planner to do it and to explain it to other stakeholders in the project also. The next thing is calculation. Though the resource assignments thing, so once we assign the resource assignment, once we assign the resources to particular activity, when we are adding one more resource or we are removing that particular resource from that activity, we are saying that whatever units are allocated to that particular activity, that should be available there itself. It should not be like the unit should be going blank and again we give input every time. So this should be taken care, and the highlighted option here or the selected option here is recommended for better calculation or better resource assignment, so that we know how many units are left in that particular activity and how much it should be distributed or how much it should be assigned. And the next thing is assignment staffing. Assignment staffing is assigning multiple resources to particular project or sorry to particular activity. In an activity, there is already a resource working. We need to assign one more resource. In that thing, we are saying to that what units per time and what are the factors for that particular resources. You should ask me each time. Each time I assign, each time you add a resource, this should be asked so that you can define it, because it varies. It varies for each activity. The activity, let's say plumbing is an activity, drilling is an activity. So there are two resources in plumbing. You need the plumber and you need, let's say, drilling resource also. But in drilling activity, you just need a driller and that's all. So in the plumbing activity, when you need two resources, you need the tool should ask you what are the preferences, what are the units per time and the other details of resources for two different resources. So this should be very dynamic. This will be very dynamic in project. So every time we assign a resource, we prefer that the tool should ask us what are the resource uh, variables that are required to assign for that particular activity. And the last thing, startup filters. So as soon as you open Primavera or as soon as you open a particular project, what all data should be seen? We prefer it should be that there should be no filter while we are seeing the project data, because if we assign some filters which are specific to some other project and we continue those filters for the next project, there are high chances that we see blank space in the activities and we have to go again to the filters, clear all the filters and then open the project. So which is a tedious task every time to do. So for that, what we suggest is you keep no filter while you are opening a project, so that you see all the activities whatever are there in that project. So these are different user preferences that we need to set up so that your work or the working time with the basics as a planner is more friendly and more comfortable for you to work in the basics. So the same thing we will try to see how to navigate in the tool and how to select them in the tool so that you are more aware of it. As I said, on the left side, click on the edit, then move on to user preferences. You will be getting this pop-up. Then go to time units. There are different units that we have, but we recommend it to be hours and duration format as day instead of any other things. Then dates format, select the format which you are more comfortable with, and time format will are 20. 24 hour, do not show time. In some cases, we don't need time at all. The date is enough, then you can't do not show time. But there may be some activities which are very sensitive at each hour. At each hour, we need to calculate that particular activity. Then we go with 12 hour or 20 hour, 24 hour format as per our convenience. Then currency, select the preferred currency as you need it. The P6 have different currencies that are used at worldwide. Then assistance, as I said, you have to click both the options. I'll just show you what happens if I untick this. Okay. I have unticked this saying that use new activity wizard. I have unticked it. What happens? Moving to activities page, I am adding a new activity. So what did the P6 do? It simply have added the new activity. It didn't ask me any details. But when I change it to when I change this setting to use a new activity wizard, let's see what happens now. Now I am adding again a new activity. So this time there is a pop-up. In this pop-up, it is asking what is the activity ID, what is the activity name. If I click next, which WBS it should be assigned, all these particular details which are very important while we are adding an activity. All these things are asked before we assign it, because once it is added, it is very difficult to go to WBS back WBS window and then come back here and then add details, which is a bit tedious when compared to that pop-up. Okay, so now you got that difference, right? Why we are using this one. And then application, so it is completely personal choice of individual. What all needs to be shown while we start up the uh, Pramagra, then how to group and sort it, what all needs to be shown while grouping and sorting. Then password, as I said, this is very organizational thing. If some cases you will be having access to change the password, some cases you will not be having access to change the password. This function is just to change the password of particular login. Resource analysis, this is, as I said, this is like the usage profile, where you need to see what all projects data needs to be visible there. As we said, we should be selecting the open projects only. Then time distribution, it is a day interval and then remaining early dates only, not the forecast dates. Calculations, preserve the units for the resource assignments. And while you are assignment staffing, while you are adding a new resource for that particular activity, every time tool should ask me what are the units per time and the other factors for that particular resource. And then last thing is the startup filters. As I said, you have to make sure that all these things are selected so that you don't end up a blank screen while you are opening the code. So that's all about the user preferences or project preferences. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. See you in the next one. Thank you.